Okay, we're live. Okay, we're good.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now I can.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. Hey, good morning, everybody. June 28th. Happy Friday. We just had a big data point PCE that were people were waiting on. That was a 730 number, and it kind of came out unchanged. We had a minor sell off from the overnight high in the SPOOs. That is the chart immediately in front of you. Um, I have this area of 74 area for a possible short up to 70, up to 83. Dan was able to catch one short at 71, and he's ridden it. And that's now come off down into the area which was yesterday's resistance, the 55.53, 55.54 area. So this traditionally would be an area. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I mean, my allergies are just kicking me. This is a support area. If we get below here, now we are back into the meat of yesterday's range. So something I want to point out here. So I drawn this chart from late yesterday, establishing the 55.54 to the 55.31 range, and I also put the arrow above that if we get above 54, there's indeed a possibility to get up to the 55.69, 75, 83 area. That's the new range. If we traded below the 55.31, that puts us in the range of getting back to 55.16 and possibly down to 55.11. So again, this was drawn late yesterday after the close. And you can see how we opened up and where we traded in this specific range. So it was actually a pretty nice range, about a 20-point range, and that incorporated a 7:30 data release. There are a few of the stocks that we traded yesterday between, um, you know, Palo Alto Networks, Amazon, Snow, SMCI, to include Tesla. They're all pretty strong pre-market. They all had good closes yesterday, so this bodes well for a good day for us. So I think to provide a little bit more support into the market open, I think it's pretty key for us to kind of hold this 53, 54 area. That's my personal opinion. Let me go over, let's kind of get a glance at what the NASDAQ futures are doing. Okay, so now these are lines that I had drawn from before, no real material value, but you do see that the line of the 20065 in the NASDAQ futures, that seems to be kind of holding the NASDAQ pre-market right at that area. So, and this was simply just a line drawing off the, let me show you. This is something you guys know I prefer the NASDAQ for my areas, but because we're looking at the futures, it's pre-market. This is just, this line is drawn off the top of the meat of this range. If we get back in below here, it has a good chance of trading down here. So we are 24 minutes before the open, so plenty of things can happen here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly go to the SPX chart. I would just want to see what are the key areas here. Well, the key area there was the 5490 area. That was like serving as resistance. And if we take the 5490, I mean, basic math, the spread is trending right at 63 right now. That puts it at about 55, 53 for ES. Well, we can see that, I mean, ES was really strong and it closed, it's 20 points. It's high, the pre market high is 20 points above that area. So we are going to be, so right now, so if ES is now 10 points above the change from yesterday, that would put SPX at about 54.93. So let's just kind of identify that. So 54.93. So if SPX were to open right now, it's opening above that 54.90 key support area, 5493. This is where it's going to open up. So it would have the area down. Let's see, just key areas to note. Down here would be toward a gap fill. But if it pursues that gap fill again, I just walked through the trades below that range. We're now back into the meat of yesterday's range. It could stay in there. Or does it bounce? Does it close the gap, bounce? And it we get above the 54.90 SPX and we trade up to 55.04.05 to go test the highs from Thursday, June 20th. I think there's a good chance that's what's going to happen. I think the 54.90 is going to hold. Maybe we do a quick flush and close the gap, and we bounce from there. Um, I think there's a good chance of that happening. So I'll share these charts in the room, so at least you guys will have your levels, your quote unquote areas of interest, and we'll go from there. I'll keep you updated on the spread and we'll all try to keep ourselves informed of all the stocks that we're participating in longs, and that will be really helpful. So I wish everybody a good, happy Friday. There, we're starting off where there could be some good trading opportunities, but keep in mind, it's like, we're not going to sit here and take just unreasonable odds, low odds, unreasonable setup trades. You wait for the higher odds trades. And that's areas where you can define your risk. Those are the only things we participate in. After 10 o'clock, I mean, it's Capital Preservation Friday. A lot of people are going to be wheels up, going to their favorite places for the week of 4th of July. So the volume will really ratchet down after 10, 11 o'clock. And besides Monday, Tuesday, a little bit of volume. Next week will be a very low expectation, low volume week. So just kind of have that in mind. Just focus on making good decisions. And sometimes a good decision is getting out of a trade that's wrong. Keep that in mind. All right, I will yield to Dan.
Morning, everybody. And I actually did close there at 55. My first instinct at 53 to close my short was actually almost dead on the low there, and so sort of hearing you talk too, sort of was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna get out of this now. Makes sense. So I was looking at this chart. I didn't have it up at the time, but I actually had a level here at 53.50, which sort of is. Where's that come back from? When did I have that? When did I even make that one? So looks like I made it somewhere in here, probably on the 30-minute chart. But so the reason for that short up here was the spread would have put us at SPX 5,500. I was off, I guess, by a point or so because we did slip through it a little bit, and I had I think 3-point stop there. So I actually had a point and a half of leeway there before getting stopped out. But I got 71 just because that's going to be 5,500. Figured we were going to bounce off there and not slide right through it on the first thing. I was looking at spot gamma. That actually aligns. That's their call wall today. So if we do happen to trade above this today, I think that there's a really good shot we're gonna first and next stop is going to be up here in this 87, 88 area, which would have been that's the all-time high, right? Yeah. So I think that's the all-time high. Am I right here?
Yeah.
Yep. So I think that if we get through that, you can see how I don't really have a whole lot in this, and we can go down to, let's go to 30-minute. Still not a whole lot there. So if we slip through this 72, 73, we're probably going to straight shot to this 87. And if we get over that SPX 5,500, there could be some dynamics of sort of a gamma squeeze above that. There's actually some dynamics of gamma squeezes in a bunch of places today. Let's see. This is a possible one. If this one can get sort of above 215, this could squeeze up to this 220 area pretty quickly. So that's one sort of stock I'm watching today. Where's the other one? I don't even have it on my morning call list, but this is another one. If this can get over this rejected up here, what was the high yesterday? High was 199.24, 199.84. So, if we get above this 200 area, I could see some sort of chasing this thing up like we saw with Apple, I don't know, last week, 2 weeks ago. That's something I'm watching. The other option and we need to remember the stock we are playing Amazon. Amazon traditionally loves screwing people. So the option for Amazon would be, dunks above this 200, maybe gets the 201 or something. And then if you lose that 200, that could be a short, and those 200 calls could unwind. So there's two possibilities here to look for on Amazon, where if you see us peak above this 200, 201 area, and then we lose it to the downside, that's how those unwinds start to happen. So I'll yield to you, Lee. Actually, let me go one more here. Where is it? What a beauty this one has been. I'm still long equity. I don't have any more calls on it, so I'm just in the equity now. But I think this one's going to eventually fill this gap here up to 360. I think that's sort of a no-brainer now. That thing really just hit it once here, twice, three, and then on the fourth whack, it finally broke through. So that's been a really nice trade from down here in this area here to low 270s, mid 270s, I think is my entry on that one. And I think that goes back to what, January? No, April. I think I first was playing it in here, and then I got out and then got back in here. So that's been a really nice one, and continues to be a really nice one. This continues to be really productive. This came back and target came back and held this 145. I added at 145 area, and I'm just accumulating this as a longer term Roth IRA holding. Too quality of a stock to be down here. So look at the chart and the room it has if it can get over this 183. So have a great weekend and talk on Monday.
Good morning. Let me get my screen up here. All right. Make sure everyone can hear me. See my screen.
Can hear you just fine on Riverside.
All right. Perfect. All right. So I shared this yesterday. We were kind of down in this range. Shared this harmonic that was setting up. Wasn't the cleanest looking, but we had a target here of 55.79 and a quarter. We came up to 73.50, so relatively close. So as you know, these are bearish in nature, so my lean is a little bit more of a sell-off. Off of this pattern now, and what I would do in this instance, if this really is the top, I would take this Fibonacci off and I would go, we came down from lows and we came up to highs, and these are my retracement levels for the way down. So initially we're going to have a 51 is going to be a supportive, which actually if you look across would be a good area. And then the 50% retracement would be 54.44.25, and then our favorite guy here at 53.37.50 is the 61.8. So keep an eye on that and those levels here for the retracements as we come off of this harmonic, which again is bearish in nature. So that's kind of what I'm watching, what I'm expecting. We also, on the hourly, have the MACD curling down, so there is a setup for some short side. I did play a little long here this morning, thinking that maybe we would continue up in the pattern, but we're kind of teetering on that place where it's come up to its fruition, and I had this Fibonacci support here. I got a few points off of it, but if we lose this area here, I think 53, 52, we definitely have room down to these levels here. These are my daily and weekly pivots here, which would be 38.75, 37 and a quarter. So if we jump back over here, we have a 37.50, 61.8 retracement. So there's a lot of confluence in that area. So that would be my first area where I would really be looking for a full size long off of here, which is sort of confluence in this zone here too. So that's kind of my lean on the indexes.
When you said this zone there, I couldn't see the numbers. Can you say the number?
Yeah, so I have a weekly pivot at 37 and a quarter and a daily pivot just above at 38.75. And then if we do look at this retracement, we have a 61.8 at 37.50. So if I come back over here and I put one in at 37.50, it would be right there. So in this area is really going to be my target for a decent amount of support. But again, we just have to watch these. Sometimes these just come down to the 38 and then turn around and keep on going. But I'm obviously aware of this, this MACD turning down on the hourly kind of shows you a little bit what to expect. But, we'll kind of watch the price action and see what happens. So that's my index take for today. Tesla I've been watching. We kind of bumped over 200 here. I have a weekly pivot, 269. Did not make that up, but we hit it pre-market here and we rejected. So that's going to be a key level to get over here for continuation. Obviously 200 is a big number. I think there's about 60,000 zero DTE open interest there, and I'm sure there's some higher strikes too. This really is the target here, 205.82, what I've been kind of eyeing for a little while. And if we get over this 269 level, then that could be a target for the day. Shop, we took position yesterday. This is another one that looking for that gap fill. That's more of a swing play over the next few weeks. And I think Dan mentioned PanW. That's continuing. We got that gap fill up to around 360. And I think that's about it. CRM, I exited a bunch of that yesterday. I still have some runners left in there for that gap fill.
Bring up snow. I meant to cover that.
Snow.
Thank you.
Yeah, that had a great move yesterday.
Yeah, and it was up a couple of bucks just before, this morning.
Yeah. This would be it's definitely looking nice on the daily. This is kind of the pivot level to get over 146.19.
Why is that not coming up on your chart?
What?
Oh, I still see Pan.
Really? Let
Yeah.
me see here.
I'm seeing it.
Oh,
I'm seeing snow.
Maybe your screen maybe froze.
that's probably it then. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily see any pattern here, but maybe there's a little bit of kind of this look to it. But I would say, let's jump into the hourly here. Yeah, it may need some cooling off here today. I would watch this 135 for rejection. We kind of hit it a couple times here, so I would kind of be in the more of the cooling off camp on the snow today. And that's about it, really. Let me see if anyone's thrown any other charts here. Let's have a quick look at Meta. Yeah, kind of the same. Everything kind of looks a little bit like could be a little bit of a cool-off day. Let's see. Yeah, and the indexes are continuing to come back down, so we're probably pretty close here to this 38, 31 and a quarter.
We're just hovering at this 52, 53 at the moment.
Yeah. I think it'll probably get a little flush below it here. Let's see.
Nvidia's turning around. Apple's not really doing much. I don't know. Might hold it, but I could see a little peak below for sure too.
Yeah, but I would say it's pretty safe to say that this pattern has come to its fruition, and we just have to see how aggressive this wants to sell off, or just watch for it to build a base at any one of these levels to start looking long again. And that's about it for the day. We'll jump off here. We'll be in the room.
Okay, sounds good. So I still have a portion of my long from the 54.50. I scaled pretty heavily at 58.5. The only thing keeping me in the long is Nasdaq's holding this 20.063 level. So I'm still long, but I have great scales, and so I'm still in it. I'm not going to get short unless I get stopped out. Stopped out at
I would say as long as it holds this 51 level, you're safe. But if we lose that, then we got a ways to go down.
Yep, I agree with that. All right, have a great day, everybody.
All right, bye.
You ending the stream? We're gonna do that thing.
Let me just end the morning call thing. We're still live, so we can do that if you want.
Well, end the live on YouTube.